computer. So, good evening and welcome. Thank you everyone for joining us. And I just want to say a massive thank you for everyone that's completed the tasks and that's completed the forms this week. It's been fantastic. I think we've got about 75 people that have completed this form already. So I will share my screen and I'll run through the presentation for the challenges. I'll give an overview of what we're doing as a whole, and then I'll explain this week's challenge as well. So I'll just share my screen. Those that were here last week, you'll remember that my techno skills are terrible. So if we jump into this week's. So this week we are looking at start and run with the bike as part of our Cyclo-Cross challenge. We'll come back to that picture in a minute. So how does it work? Over the next 3 weeks, so we're 1 week in, this is the second week, we're going to do 3 specific Cyclo-Cross core skills. And all you need to do, each week you'll pick up the information from the Microsoft Forms document that's like a coaching points and overview and links to the videos. And we'll explain all the different techniques each week. So last week we explained hurdles. This week we're going to explain starts into run with a bike. Next week's corners. Now you don't need to submit any information in these first 3 weeks. When we put it all together and everyone needs to complete each form by the end of the 3 weeks, and I can see who's done it once you put your names on there, then you get the invite for the grand final, and that's when we want the video verification, just so I know that everyone's times and I can have a look at everyone's techniques. If you've got any questions, we've got the Tuesday session, just for anyone, any technical questions or just anything in general about the challenge. But we don't need to see videos until the end, if that's okay. And then once we do the final, it's all a bit of fun. We're going to have a results table and hopefully some virtual awards. Right. So let me show you this week's forms document. So you all had the email and it all had the link to this. So there's 3 different videos that we've got this week because there's 2 different techniques that we're doing. So we'll run it as 2 specific techniques, as I said, but the second part, the run with the bike, it's a few different components to it. So these are all key fundamental things that you really want to make subconscious, and I'll use the word efficient loads through this, because the more efficient you are with it, the easier it is to do and the quicker you'll go in your bike race, which is what everyone wants. So again, it's just the same format as last week. How are you feeling with the start technique at the moment? It was nice to see that some of you were super confident and couldn't possibly improve on the last one. And then the second question's coaching points, basically. Now, with the Microsoft Forms, something I didn't realize, you're only allowed to tick, it only gives you the option of ticking one thing, one answer per question. So the first one is exactly what we want. You're only going to tick one of how you feel about it. And the second one, it's up to you. These are just coaching points. You just need to tick one. It doesn't matter which one. You're not being measured on that. All I want to do on this is for you for reference, and you just need to make sure you put your name on the end. So as I say, the second one is coaching points, and it just runs through the coaching points of a start technique. Getting your bike ready, get your body set, and then when you're going, the first instinct should be pressing down and engaging the pedals and clipping in. And then whatever happens, if you miss a pedal, you keep pedaling, keep going forward, keep going forward. Can't get in the race if you're not going forward. Then you'll get back into your pedal if you miss it. Get on top of each gear before you change into the next, and don't be grabbing a handful of gears and just being overgeared. And then, as I said before, repetition enforces it to become subconscious. Now, how confident are you dismount and running with the bike technique? Now, this is one that most people can do, but there's varying levels and abilities of competence with it. Some people will be floundering around and some people will be breezing along. So let's see how you are now, and let's see how you are at the end of it if you can improve through it. So again, we've just done the key coaching points is question 4, just about dismounting, how you pick up the bike, in which there's 2 different ways you can hold it, and how you lock the bike onto your shoulder so it's not hurting you and it's efficient and moving with you, moving with the body. How do you run? Is it a natural upright position? And then putting the bike down in a controlled manner, not dropping it in an efficient way again. And then, as we looked at last week, the remount is about being an efficient, not jumping from a great height and crashing down on your saddle. And once you've linked those 2 together, as like I say, this will form, we're going to map out the challenge final on a football field. So these will be two straights of a football field. So you'll link the two together, and then you'll be super confident. And like I say, if you can put your name on those, please. So I'll go back to here. Okay, so let's look at starts. First of all, let's talk through these techniques. So if you look at the boy in the left-hand side in the snow this week, he's in the ready position. So we've got hands on bars, ready for the go, and he's in the seated position. Now, there's an option. Some people like to be seated, some people like to be standing. Personally, and from a coaching perspective, I think seated's better because it gives you a better reaction time to get your foot that's on the floor into the pedal, and it seems to be a quicker, more efficient model. If you look on the picture on the right-hand side, you'll see there's Helen Wyman and Nikki Brammer in there, and those people have just literally, the gun's gone, and you'll see their different head positions relate to probably if they were seated or not. So if you look at the people that have gone really low and have lost inertia, they tend to be the ones that are out of the saddle. Whereas the people that have a higher head, like Nikki and the other telenet rider, they have more inertia and will be able to carry forward in a better motion because they were already in the seated position. That just gives a little inkling. And the picture at the bottom is people in full flight race mode just when it started. So it's all about being calm and being efficient and really make this a fundamental skill. And it's also something, if you've got a reassuring, safe technique, when you get to a start in a stressful situation where you've got time to think and be nervous, if you've got your go-to technique, it'll just reassure you that when you get 30 seconds, 15 seconds to go, your body's in the bang, ready to go technique, if that makes sense. So, on to the next one. Dismounting, same as last week for the hurdles, except this week there's no glide. So you look at the bottom picture, you're straight into the get yourself set, swing your leg over. But as soon as you're swinging over, you're straight into running. Now, there's two ways to pick the bike up here. You'll see Lucinda Brand on the left-hand side uses the down tube, and you'll see Tom Pidcock on the right-hand side uses lift from the top tube. Now, remember Tom's picture because we'll come back to that, but they're the two different ways of picking the bike up. And then from that, you go on to how you hold the bike to your body, how you lock it on. So you'll see the two different options here. You've got Hattie Harnden on the left, who's gone down on the down tube. So she'll have picked the bike up from the down tube, and she locks the bike under there and holds onto the handlebars. Notice the top tube is halfway across her shoulder at right angles to her shoulder, so it's not cutting in, it's across her back more, if that makes sense. Now, Dan Barnes on the right-hand side has got his hand around the head tube. So he could have picked up from down tube or top tube, but he puts his hand through the triangle and round the head tube to lock it on. That tends to be for people that have got slightly longer arms and got slightly longer limbs and a bigger bike frame. That seems to work better for them, but there's two different ways. There's no right, no wrong, whichever fits better for you. The key thing is that the bike's comfy and that the bike fits your body and you can move in a natural position. See how they're both in a natural running position. The same with Evie at the bottom there. You'll see that she's in a much more natural running position, whereas the other two that are pushing the bike, perhaps they're about to pick it up, but you'll see the body position's not natural. They're twisted across because the bike's not with them. It's on the floor as a completely separate thing. Does that make sense? So if we look at putting the bike down, we go back to the picture of Tom Pidcock. That could easily be picking the bike up or putting the bike down. It's the same motion. Now, if you were to pick it up from the top tube, some people slide it down the forearm from the shoulder and you might almost catch it into your hand and place it on the ground. If you're a down tube, you tend to put it down, having got hold of the down tube and put the bike back to the floor. Either way, you want to put it down in a controlled and gentle manner. And then we're back to the remount technique. You'll see Wout van Aert giving an excellent demonstration there of how he's just landed on slightly on the inside of his thigh, and he's super efficient about not going higher than he needs to and just slides on, keeping that inertia of the bike going forward, not forcing it into the ground. Josie Nelson's doing the same on the left-hand side there. And once again, I can't reiterate enough. If you just repeat and develop your technique, video analysis is really good for you watching yourselves back, looking how you're doing it. But the more you repeat, the more it becomes ingrained, the more you'll save energy, the less mental energy you will use, and the faster you'll go. Is that all right? Shall I just run back through? Ooh. So this week, we're looking at starts, about getting yourself ready, about clipping in. So you've got the technical aspect of changing through the gears, clipping in the pedals. Are you seated? Are you standing? And you've got the physical aspect of readying yourself for the race and the explosive effort from standstill. Picking the bike up, so you're carrying as much momentum as possible. If you can develop this on the flatland, when you come to doing it on hills, you'll be much more efficient. So the quicker you can get off and get the bike onto the shoulder, the more efficient and better you're going to be. Fastening the bike onto your shoulder, how do you lock it on? Are you around the front, or are you underneath? Whichever way needs to be a smooth motion and efficient, giving you an open-shouldered, natural running position. How are you putting the bike down? Do you slide it down holding the top tube? Do you place it down using the down tube? Normally, it's just the opposite way of how you'd pick it up, and looking to be efficient as possible when you remount. And then you become world champion. It's simple. Does anybody have any questions? Is everyone hunky-dory happy? Does everyone know that we're not sending videos in this week? We're just going to practice, practice, practice. Complete the Teams form whenever you feel you want to in the next couple of weeks, as long as it's done before the end of 2 weeks' time. And then Tuesday, there will be a help Zoom session for anyone with any questions. And again, I'll send, this will be recorded tonight, and I'll stick it onto the Talent YouTube channel if anyone wants to watch it, or for those that have missed it, we'll put it on there again. Okay? Anyone have any questions? Anyone at all? Has anyone made any notes? Right. Silence is golden. Oh, hang on a minute. There's something in the chat. Where do we find the quiz? So on the email that you received with the invite for this, further down, there's a link to the Microsoft Forms document, which gives the explanation of the document that I showed on my screen. It has videos, 3 different videos, and that's, as soon as you complete that, you don't need to send that to me. It's an interactive form. So when you click submit at the bottom, I'll see a copy of it. I'll see your answers. Does that everyone's good? Thank you. Anyone else with any questions? Great. Have a nice weekend, everyone. Hope you've not got as much snow as we have and you can all get out on something. Enjoy yourselves. See you later. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.